And this is my comedian to the right. There he is. Okay, it is 5:58, and I'm going to call the Board of Adjustment regular meeting call to order Wednesday, September 11th at, again, 5:58. If everyone could please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could we please have a roll call?
Board Member Velasco is absent. Board Member Woods.
Present.
Board Member Bailey.
Here.
Board Member Martin.
Here.
Board Member Harrison absent, and Chairman Hatcher.
Here.
Perfect. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And do we have any personal appearances tonight?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from the June 12th, 2024 meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 12th, 2024?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 12th, 2024 meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bailey.
All those opposed? Motion passes to approve the minutes from the June 12th, 2024 meeting. Is there any unfinished business? No, thank you very much. New business. We have the Peak Auto variance of use at 217 North Madison. There will be a public hearing, and as of 6 o'clock, I will be opening that public hearing. Is there anyone here in attendance tonight that would like to come forward and speak on behalf of the applicant? Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, please.
My name is Trent Schweitzer. At my home address or the address of the place?
Home.
Home address. My home address is 2100 Ann Terrace, Harrisonville, Missouri.
Thank you. And what are you here tonight asking for?
So we were asking tonight, I understand, is a variance of use request. So we, all three of us, me, Noah Warner, and Bobby Green, all own Summit Integrity Auto. I just came in to, so that came into, sorry.
That's okay, we just lost our computer, so we
Oh.
apologize, our faces kind of, that's all right.
No
We'll
problem,
wing
no
it, we
problem.
got this.
Okay, gotcha. So we own Summit Integrity Auto. We actually own the original shop is in Lee Summit, opened August of 2022. And then we actually opened this current shop here in Raymore. It took over the old Perkins building. We opened it in February of this year. So we've done well enough that we feel like the next move we'd like to make is a used car lot. We do notice a lack of the higher end used car lot in Raymore. There's only one that I know of, and we also work on their cars. We also work on that shop's cars at our shop, and we understand that we're in need of a higher level auto repair shop because Raymore is a higher level city. One of the reasons we picked Raymore is because the median income is higher and because the crime's low. I mean, we've got all this stuff that we look for, just like in Lee Summit. Raymore is kind of like that model city. And so one of the things that we'd like to do is we'd like to move into that path of opening up a used car lot. It kind of works out perfectly in that area because we also have the 2 acres of lot behind that is owned by the same landlord that we rent from. Our plans are we would like to improve that property drastically. We've already kind of improved it. If you can see, I don't know if you can see on your computers now. Did you go back to the pictures of what it used to look like? I'm sure you guys remember, but this is what it used to look like. Obviously, I mean, Perkins had a 3.2 average stars on their Google. That's an important thing is your reviews. And Yelp was 2 stars. You guys remember what it looked like? The semi-truck trailer parked in the back. It was really bad. We, by ourselves, funded the painting of the building. We funded the renovations of the building, and then we also cleaned up the back lot and took a big old, forget what you call it, but bulldozer kind of thing and went through and we cleaned up the whole lot back there and got it clean. You guys may notice there are Amazon vans there now. Amazon has had an issue getting some of their cars repaired, so we took on the contract for a few months to kind of help them out. But if you would scroll down to the plans for improvement. So we'd like to add gravel in the acreage behind. We'd like to add gravel almost all the way to the back, which whatever city permits. Because we don't like the look of the dirt and all the grass growing up back there. We want to get it nice and as paved as we can. We can't obviously put asphalt all the way back there. I think that would violate a city code, but we can do some gravel back there for storage for those cars that are not completely repaired yet. We'd also like to do a vinyl fence that separates that gravel lot from the, it would be the west side where what's actually touching the street, 58. We actually want to separate it at the tree line with a vinyl fence. That would also help with security and kind of, as you call it, called a buffer, where you can't really see all those cars that may have needed repairs. Our plan is on the north side of the building. I might have to, there we go. If you could point to the north side of the building, perfect. That lot right there, we like to pave the entire thing, which is what we were required to do. We're going to pave that whole thing, but we'd like to store our used cars for sale on display on that north side, and then the repairs be on the south side of the building. And the sign for Peak Auto Group would also go on that north side, which would kind of separate the two, as it's two separate businesses, but owned by the same group of people. We would call it Peak Auto Group. Summit Integrity Automotive is the summit of a mountain. Peak Auto Group, that's what we saw there. We will also want to make it clear, we are going to put that pavement there anyways, but this would help with the funding of that. We're looking at some time with the landlord and us having to do it together. We're looking at a little bit of time, and I think if we had this used car lot, our projections say that we could actually do it a lot quicker. I think that's it. Sorry, I'm not great at public speaking.
Doing great.
So other than that, I think that's it. Any questions?
Not at this time, but we may have questions after the staff report. Okay? Thank you. Oh, one thing. So all three of you are owners?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Staff report?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Schweitzer, for your presentation. Tonight, you have in front of you a request for a variance of use to Section 410.020, which is the use table within the Unified Development Code. The project's located at 217 North Madison Street, and within the request is really allowing for the use of light equipment and vehicle sales or rental to be permitted as a C or conditional use permit within a C2 General Commercial District. The existing zoning of the property is Zone C2, General Commercial District, with the surrounding zoning to the north being C2, General Commercial District and R3A, Multifamily. To the south is C2, General Commercial District and BP, Business Park. And to the east is C2, General Commercial District, and to the west is R3A, Multifamily Residential.
Excuse me, could we have control back?
Yes,
Thank you.
sure can.
Thank you.
As this is a public hearing, staff would like to enter into the record a list of exhibits 1 through 6, 1 being the mailed notices to adjoining property owners, 2 to the notice of publication, which was actually published on August the 21st, 2024 in the North Cass Herald. 3 would be the Unified Development Code, 4 would be the application, 5 the growth management plan, and 6 the staff report. A little bit of history with the property, which actually I say a little bit, but there's quite a bit of history that goes way back into really the early 2000s, and that's just what we have record of. But the property has remained unplatted, and there's been 5 different five different uses at least since the early 2000s, being S&S Oil Co., H&H Auto Sales, Tim's Garage, Perkins Service being the most recent before Summit Integrity moved in February of 2024. The current use of the property is a motor vehicle repair, which is considered under the current UDC as being a conditional use. However, that use has been established since the early 2000s, so it is permitted as a non-conforming use as per our section 475.040. Other similar businesses near the subject property are Victory Lane Auto, which is directly across the street, which that exists as a non-conforming use as well. It's existed well before our code came into play, and so has been able to remain there as long as there's nothing substantially that changes. Trek Auto was approved with a conditional use permit located at 302 West Walnut Street. And it was approved with 5 different conditions, which in your staff report or in the packet you have, and you'll see a auto sales history sheet, which should outline all of that for you with those specific conditions outlined. With the most recent variance of use application being approved by this body here, October 11th of 2023, Elite Fence and Deck was the most recent application you've seen. So just wanted to be able to identify what has been most recent and what actually happened with Elite Fence. So we kind of tied these two together just because there's not a lot of variance of use applications to get applied for. Within the staff comments, you will see our use table, which currently you see light equipment and vehicle sales rental as under the C2 zoning as not permitted. So tonight, you're not necessarily approving all of the improvements and all of the things that they're looking to do to the property. You're ultimately deciding, is this a conditional use? And if so, if it gets approved, the applicant move on to the next step, which essentially will go as a conditional use permit in front of the Planning Commission and 2 reads of the City Council. So this is really just the first step in their journey to get approval. Notices were mailed out to 29 adjoining property owners. No objections up until today were received. This was just the property owner to the north did, they had some issues with the Amazon trucks that were being parked kind of on the north side, which after discussing with them, they didn't realize what was going on with that and were really more or less concerned. But after talking with Mr. Schweitzer, that is not going to be a permanent location for those Amazon trucks. And so that was one of the things that was mentioned. And the other was just some trash that was along the tree line, which after talking with Mr. Schweitzer as well is also a plan to get cleaned up. And so just wanted to make that a mention moving forward. Approval of this request does not explicitly approve this use as an allowable use. Again, the conditional use permit will be applied at a later date, but this is the first step. And then staff included a conceptual site plan drawing indicating the property and kind of the layout and what it is that they're proposing. Staff recommends to the Board of Adjustment to accept the staff proposed findings of fact and approve case number 24011, Peak Auto Group, variance of use to establish a light equipment and vehicle sales or rental as a conditional use permit within the, as a conditional use in the C2 General Commercial District located at the property of 217 North Madison Street. This would conclude staff report.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Are you going to be using or repairing and selling both electric and gas vehicles, or?
So we are, all 3 of us, we came from a dealership. All of us are certified to work on electric vehicles. The electric vehicle market is kind of unstable. As of now, I don't think we would probably do that too often. I don't want to say no, but I don't see that being a thing for us. To sell Teslas, you have to have a special deal. So we would obviously not be a Tesla dealer. We'd not be a Rivian dealer. We would not be any of the new electric vehicles. Any of the big 3 we could potentially sell. I mean, the Ford, Dodge, or Chevy, GM. Any of those we could. I don't foresee that being the case, though. But I don't want to say no for sure.
And then the other question would be about the trees in the back. Are you thinking of clearing any of that land so that you can open up your space?
So I don't really, that hasn't been something we've discussed yet. I do know that obviously the plan is at least to clean them. They are kind of overgrown and hanging over. We've actually been in contact with a couple of tree companies, haven't really settled on one yet. And also we're going into the winter, kind of wanted to do it when all the leaves fall. But I don't know. I'd really kind of go to the city and kind of see what the city would rather us do with those, because we don't have a preference per se. If we do remove those trees, we would be putting fencing all the way around it instead. But that remains to be seen.
Board Member Woods, I would follow up with that, is that with that complaint that I had initially mentioned earlier, the screening was actually something that the person that had an objection would like to see. So having those trees would actually probably be more of a benefit than to remove them completely, as they are looking to have new tenants go into those buildings. If you'll remember, those are Oak Ridge Farms' fourth plat. And so they're almost completely done, and so there will be new tenants with that. And obviously, having that treat area being more of a buffer than a fence, I think would be desirable.
Yeah, and I'd seen the Amazon trucks too. There's like 6 or 7 of them out there, so.
There's
I was
a
just
total
curious.
of 30 on the property. Yeah, and there's not that many going to be there forever.
Okay,
They're hard to work on, so
thank you.
no problem. Sorry.
So quick question, on the staff report photographs, where it's got the kind of colored in red and yellow there, I'm assuming red is the commercial and yellow is kind of the residential portion, is that right?
So the red is really just showing where the fencing would exist, and behind that, or in the gray portion, is going to be the gravel
Oh,
area
no,
that they're
the
proposing.
picture
Wrong
underneath
picture.
that one,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Which picture was it on?
That'd be the next page
Oh.
of your thing,
There you go.
that bottom picture.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out, is the red commercial property and the gold color, is that residential then?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. So the used car sales would be basically adjacent to a commercial property?
That is correct. Yeah, no portion of the used car
Yeah.
proposal would be against a
Right.
residential property.
And our purpose tonight is really just to approve whether used car sales are okay or not.
You're essentially adding a C to
Right.
the table that
Right.
right now has a little dash that's prohibited.
Right, okay.
Member Martin, any questions? Okay. I only have a couple of observations. I own commercial property right around the corner from you, next to Harmon Tire. So I drive by your site more times than I can probably tell you during a day. So first of all, I add to your comments, Mr. Eppert, about the trees. Trim back the trees as you need to for the car storage, but keep as many as you can. Happy to share a local tree person for you that may save you some money. If that's the case, you mentioned the white 6-foot fencing between the building and the back lot. Would that be the same white fencing then for the entire thing, or? That's okay.
Yes, it would, if we were going to cut the trees, if we were going to do that, it would be the
Okay.
fencing all the way around, yes.
Okay, if you leave the trees then, no fencing all the way around, or?
That, again, that remains to be seen. I don't know if they're really close together. The trees are very close together. And I don't really know, to be
Okay.
honest with you. That remains to be seen. It'd more so be what the city prefers.
Okay. Probably a couple things from both, just check from a security standpoint, and then as those leaves fall this fall, you know, I know you moved in like in February or something, right? So there may not have been as many leaves, but I could see where that residential to the north and then, you know, to the east, that's going to be a concern, I think, in the future, right, of housing, looking over. Just be cautious, okay? I'm just warning you.
So Chairman Hatcher, I will have to, I guess, point back to the application.
Understand,
Because,
I'm
yes,
just
the-
providing you some feedback on the car parking. You move sales up here, and you're now moving those you're asking us to put used car sales up here, which is taking away from their parking to put the repaired cars now to the back.
And Mr. Schweitzer.
That's my point, where I'm going with this.
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but you already have vehicles stored back there.
We have some vehicles stored back there, yeah.
Very few.
Yes.
Which is true, and honestly, once the proposed fence goes up, you will not see them. And again, trying to keep it as dense as possible back there. And I get the vegetation falling back there, but really tonight it's for the sale of vehicles and not the motor vehicles, because that is permitted at this point as a conforming
Understood.
use.
But by this permitted use, you are now forcing where he's currently parking all those Amazon vans that we all see on a regular basis to that back so that he can put cars for sale up here. Correct?
I don't disagree with the statement.
Okay, all right, that's my point, okay? You're going to influx phone calls to City Hall, and we four are the ones who just allowed that to happen. Just going on the record, okay? Thank you. Public hearing, any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you all. Public hearing is now closed at 6:18. Do I have a motion regarding, hold on, let me get back up to my number. My apologies, scrolling. Let me get to my number, my apologies. There we go. Ooh, I don't have a number there. Do you all have my number? 240. Thank you. Okay. Do I have a motion on number 24011, Peak Auto Group?
I make a motion that we approve the case number 24011 for Peak Auto Group for variance use for established light equipment vehicle sales.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion number case number 24011, Peak Auto Group passes. Thank you. Do we have a staff report tonight?
It'll be very brief. I know we are trying to celebrate a birthday. So all I wanted to let you know is the regular scheduled meeting for next month has been canceled. No applications have been received. So go ahead and celebrate that night if you will. But there's nothing for October. So we'll be in touch when the next application gets filed.
Thank you very much. Are there any other public comments? None? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Meeting is adjourned as of 6:19. Thank you all very much and have a great week. Congratulations, gentlemen. And I think Dylan has some documents you all need to sign before you leave.
Did you have more for tonight? Is that what it is?
I think we're done.
Dylan, is it for tonight or are we done?
Oh, just Mr. Martin's? Okay, sorry about that.
We're already on time.
Well, happy birthday. Enjoy your birthday.
Just know these phone calls are gonna be
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
Yeah, I mean, I do like